The new Mercy changes are going to go live for the first week of Stage 2 of the Overwatch League. These nerfs to Mercy's Valkyrie have been long awaited by many pros and pub stars alike, and everyone's just really happy to see some more variety in the support meta. But what exactly will these support nerfs mean? And how are compositions going to change in response to these nerfs to Valkyrie? What support picks are going to become more viable? What hero picks in general become better? And what's Mercy's place going to be in the meta after these Valkyrie changes? These are all important questions that I think we'll see answered for sure come the first week of Overwatch League Stage 2. But for now, I just kind of want to give a glimpse of what we might see in the future based off the trends we've had already and what things might be in store. So which supports become more viable? Now, I think right off the bat, everyone wants to see more Ana. She's the most mechanically difficult support to play. She's really fun to spectate because her sleep dart allows her to make big ultimate shutdown plays, and her biotic grenade is a really interesting ability that can be used in a lot of really fun and unique ways. But before Mercy was buffed, Ana was already kind of a second-tier support. Zenyatta and Lucio dominated the support meta because Ana's kit is entirely based on projectiles, and with Winston and D.Va being such popular tanks, they're very mobile. They can get in Ana's face. They can completely shut her down from being able to use anything. And so because of that, I think it's unlikely that we see Ana make the resurgence to the popularity she once had as part of the triple tank threat. Now, full dive compositions have been losing favor as of late, but Winston and D.Va are still the most heavily run tanks in Overwatch League. There's a definite possibility that we see Ana run with anti-dive compositions when we see teams run the Orisa and the Roadhog. I think there's a niche where Ana can be run in that composition, specifically because empowering, say, a Roadhog can be a really nice way to stop a point push. But Mercy still also has a place within that kind of niche because Resurrect is really strong when paired with characters like Widowmaker or McCree that you often see run in these anti-dive compositions, because she can resurrect if they get picked, and she can heal them, pocket them, and help them do a lot more damage. Ultimately, I'm not sure exactly how that'll pan out. I think there's both a case for Ana and a case for Mercy in the specific anti-dive compositions, and I think it'll depend on the map and the team. For the second, my second point, though, is I think there's a support that many haven't considered in Moira. Her strong AoE healing coupled with her damage and mobility make her a strong contender for that main support slot. She's favored on maps like King's Row already, which will come into the rotation in Stage 2, and so she fits into compositions pretty easily with very little change to how the composition is played. She's kind of a generalist healer. Her ultimate generates really quickly. She has strong mobility. So overall, she's a very easy character to play in many different compositions. She doesn't change the win conditions at all, and she just kind of pairs nicely with a lot of different heroes. We've already seen her being run from teams like NYXL and LA Gladiators with their triple tank or quad tank compositions, mostly on Temple of Anubis for attack. Sorry, not Temple of Anubis, Horizon Lunar Colony. With all that being said, though, she does have a strong weakness in that she doesn't have any unique utility. What I mean by that is she's a very strong generalist healer, but she doesn't have a sleep dart or a resurrect ability that gives her a good reason to be picked outside of her healing or her damage. And so there are definitely situations where you really want to have that resurrect, or you really want to have that sleep dart, and although the healing potential of Ana or Mercy might be lower than Moira, you still want to pick them because they have that utility that Moira wouldn't bring, and you need it to face off against the composition that the enemy team is running, or because the map makes a certain hero really powerful and you need a sleep dart or you need a resurrect to shut that hero down. So lastly, I kind of want to talk about what Mercy's place is within the current meta, within the meta that will be coming in Stage 2. Because I believe that Mercy is always going to have two specific niches that she can fill really well that no other support hero can right now, even with these nerfs. The first is Mercy will always have a place as a pocket healer. If you want to run Widowmaker, McCree, Pharah, these are all heroes that benefit really heavily from having a strong pocket healer. And so Mercy, she can keep them topped up on health. She can resurrect them if they die. She can damage boost them when they're given space. And we've seen since the beginning of the game, this has always been a strong strategy. Even when Mercy's struggled, she's always had a place as a pocket healer specifically for Pharah. Teams have always loved to run Pharah with the pocket Mercy. Many people seem to think, though, that Mercy won't have a place in dive compositions, and I actually think that's a mistake, because the utility of Valkyrie is really great when you pair it with high mobility heroes. When you think about a dive composition, you have heroes like Winston, you got D.Va, you got Genji, you got Tracer, and they're all going to be diving around, they're all going to be moving really fast, and you need a hero who can keep up with them. You need a healer who can stay with them, keep them topped up. And Mercy's Valkyrie is like tailor-made for a dive composition, and I think that's something that people aren't thinking about as much, that you can either team-wide heal or you can team-wide give a damage boost, and both are super powerful, considering that a Moira is unlikely to be able to heal more than 1 or 2 people when they're running a full dive. Anna can't heal more than 1 person at a time, no matter what. Plus, she's more of a burst healer than a sustain healer. So it makes it really hard for Anna to heal a dive composition, because they're going to be diving all over the place. She won't be able to heal everyone at once. And when a dive composition is inherently squishy, and you need strong AoE healing to keep them alive in the face of a heavy opposition. And so Anna pretty much can't be run with a dive composition. She doesn't have the mobility to keep up with them. She doesn't have the healing and sustain that they need. Moira has the mobility to keep up with them, but she doesn't have enough AoE healing. Outside of like Coalescence maybe, but even then that's really hard to hit on more than 1 person, and it's really mostly focused on sustaining 1 or maybe 2 people in the middle of a fight. And so Mercy's team-wide healing buff, her team-wide damage buff, and her ability to resurrect, and her strong mobility, and her ability to help heal for a second support makes her really strong when paired with a dive composition. And so I think we're actually going to continue to see Mercy played by and large with dive come stage 2 of Overwatch League. Now, what will be interesting is to see how teams adapt, because the maps are going to be different, and on these stage 2 maps, I'm not sure if dive will be favored on all of them, especially like King's Row, where dive was never really the favored meta. You saw it played, but you also saw so many other compositions, and I think that's one of the reasons why King's Row has been one of the favorite maps, is because it kind of favors a lot of meta diversity. But I'm kind of digressing. My point is, dive composition is most likely going to remain largely the same despite these nerfs, just because Mercy is like tailor-made for that specific composition. So finally, I just want to answer one last question. What hero picks become more viable now that Mercy has been nerfed? And I think there's been a lot of discussion on this, and the resounding answer that I've found is, I mean, no hero really specifically becomes better now that these picks sorry, now that Mercy's Valkyrie has been nerfed. I mean, every hero got empowered by Mercy for sure. The Resurrect was always super amazing to have. The team-wide damage boost or the healing buff has made a lot of heroes viable. And the thing is, with Mercy being nerfed, all of those heroes that might be marginally better, now that the other team doesn't have a Resurrect in their back pocket, are also getting nerfed because they rely heavily on that Valkyrie healing or that Valkyrie damage boost to do their own work. And so I don't think anything is actually really going to change. It's kind of a zero sum. Basically, nerfing Mercy's Valkyrie doesn't really affect the rest of the meta, but it affects the support meta, and that's really important. And I think the diversity it gives you in the support meta, the opening up of Anna and Moira to being viable picks now, means that the rest of that you can change up your composition more as a whole rather than individual heroes getting buffed so that they'll define the meta now. To conclude, Mercy being nerfed just means that we're going to see more of the other supports. I mean, that's pretty much it. You always had to run a Mercy, and so now that you don't always have to run a Mercy, everyone else all the other supports become viable. And so I think the biggest thing about this is that Mercy being a strategical pick means that Moira becomes the generalist pick, and so you have this really interesting interplay between the three main supports of Moira, Ana, and Mercy, where Ana and Mercy have strong, unique utility that have great usage in niche situations, but then you have the generalist hero of Moira, who can be run in most every composition in every situation, and it's going to be really interesting to see how teams play with that kind of interplay between the supports. I just want to say thank you all for watching. I appreciate any support you can give me. You can follow me on Twitter. You can subscribe to me here on YouTube, or you can follow me on Twitch as well. Thank you.